Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Payne. Welcome back to another episode of Blu Ocean Crypto. So today I want to show you guys more than a handful of some of the top performing trophy bases right now, currently within Heroes of Mavia. Now, there's a big reason for why these bases are the way they are. I have to admit, I don't like the type of design that the meta is kind of forcing right now, but that's okay. The game is new. You know, this is just kind of the first iteration we're getting of trophy bases. And of course, bases in wars are going to be completely different, but really everything is all around the card pathing. So let's just jump into some of these bases and I'll explain the thought process behind them. I'll also share some of their performance and kind of how well they're doing. But without further ado, let's take a look at the first one here.
I want to play.
So this one I call Braids, and basically what it is we're trying to force everyone to come in from the bottom. Basically the way that this works is if you were to drop a boom cart absolutely anywhere around the edge of the base, it has to travel down to the bottom, up into the middle, to basically where Mira is. So essentially boom carts are useless. Now, what I'm also prepared for and expecting is for people to try to come in on the back end. So that's why there's the double walls there. People are generally going to use brutes or strikers. So I've got the missile turrets kind of in front of the headquarters, and then the ice towers there. So really, I would say this base has done pretty well. It's definitely one of the higher performing ones. That's why I put it in this video. But sometimes people can still snag a 2-star if they push hard enough from the backside. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. So this one is called Broken Spine. Definitely one of the top performers out of all of them that I'm going to show you here today. These maze style bases seem to do really well right now. Same kind of idea with the boom carts, obviously because the only enclosed space is in the middle. The boom carts have to literally travel around the entire maze in order to get to that, so that renders them useless. And then of course, because troops want to walk along the path, they won't often beat on the wall. So it's very particular how someone actually has to attack this base. I get a fair few victories with this where they actually failed completely. I would say this is probably the second best performing base out of everyone that I'm going to show you today. And it's just for those reasons I mentioned. You know, troops want to walk instead of beat on the walls. Boom carts are absolutely useless as well. And just kind of moving along. So this is probably the best performing base we've seen so far, and Colton was the one who made this. He's done lots of different iterations. The placement of everything is very, very particular, but he's been floating in like 3100 range just with this base. We've already given it to some other people. Biggest mistake you could make is not putting each structure exactly where it is. When you copy a base, you got to make sure you copy it properly. Now, what's also neat about this is because the oil is on the backside and the gold is on the front, you can actually figure out what way someone attacked when you looked at your log. Because if you notice, you look at your log and most of your oil has been taken, or more oil than gold, you know they came from the backside. Or if there's more gold taken, you know they came from the front side. Basically, this is all about concentration, you know, getting as many defenses and high HP structures together as possible. Same idea, you know, you're making the boom cart useless because boom carts have to go into the center where Mira is enclosed. Just kind of moving along. Here's a variation of Colton's base that I use. This actually performed really well for me in the 27 to 2900 range. I was just trying something a little bit different because I noticed Markswoman will tend to shoot the next layer of wall instead of the wall that they go through right now, which obviously isn't intended. But if I could get them hung up a little bit more, that was the goal. I think ultimately this performed less compared to Colton's original design, but I did have some pretty fluke victories, or like big fails, I guess you could say, from people with this one for a little while too. Moving along, this is Ninja Stars. So this is another kind of variation of the maze style bases that we're looking at, but I wanted to do these concentrations of areas with anti-air, an ice tower, turrets. Anti-air has a ton of hit points, and right now, because air troops don't really matter, it's basically just a nice blocker or something to put in the way. This one was doing pretty well. I did get a fair few defenses. I did like how it was set up, but I think the weakness is people were coming in on the top right, still sometimes getting the headquarters. Even though that triple motor there was a big pain for them to deal with, they usually couldn't get through that. Giving away the occasional 2-star I wasn't too sure of, but this one did do well. Okay, just kind of moving along. And this one, I call it Taileater because it's a little confusing to actually look at, because you can kind of see a lot of the structures just continue, like we've got all the turrets down at the bottom. But the idea was, same idea, maze style. We've got the HQ a little bit up, got additional storages there. And this one's been tripping people up too. I'd say it's probably the second or third best performing out of all of them today as well. I like it because it's a little confusing on the eyes when people are seeing like all the turrets or all the storage is kind of in one spot, and it makes them kind of second guess how do I actually attack this. But same idea, we're really just tripping up those boom carts, making it difficult for troops to come through on the walls. Now this one has been doing really good. I call it Thomper, and it's using Colton's same kind of idea with the concentration of having everything really close. But once again, boom carts actually can't come in the front. They have to go all the way around the back and in. The idea is try to get troops to bang on the front or the back. I've had quite a few victories with people trying to come in on the back end. So I've noticed that they've gotten a bunch of oil, but then they didn't even get a single star. People trying to push through the front. Obviously, they're going to deal with Mira, the double ice towers. This one's actually, I haven't gotten enough data in yet to say it's the second or third best performing compared to some of the others like I mentioned. But this one has been doing exceptionally well. There is a bit of free trash kind of around the edge, you could argue, isn't the best for it because you're giving away that free trash. So I have thought about maybe moving everything in a little bit. Because it's doing pretty well right now, I just want to kind of see it in action, get some more data. And then this one I call Trash Compactor. Not as good as performing as the maze ones, but same idea. You've got the storages on either end, so I can kind of see where people are coming in. I did a bigger enclosed wall area in the middle, just because I know that boom carts are still going to get pulled into that section. Right now, the idea is kind of to get them to come through any of those four corners and then get caught up on a lot of high hit point structures. And it's a little difficult to get Mira out of there unless you kind of really push in well. And then here's the last one. This one I call Fibonacci. This one, same idea. It's been taking the maze structure or kind of thing that's messing people up with the boom carts, except I wanted to put more spacing between a lot of the units and make it a little harder for them to get around. This one has been doing well. I notice a lot of people are trying to attack from the top and they don't even get to the HQ and they fail. But there has been a few times I've noticed, especially when you log back in, you can see what's destroyed. People who just kind of worked on all of the trash around the edge can get the 1-star. So I'm also wondering about maybe getting those units and structures a little bit more closed in to protect them. But this one's also been doing very well.
I want to play.
So these are the top performing out of all of them. Like I mentioned, Colton's base, the Broken Spine, those are the top performers right now. Womp is doing really good as well. But I would highly recommend you try any of these, especially depending on your trophy range. The goal is to get victories, which is difficult. It's going to be completely different in wars. In wars, you want to stop 3 stars. For trophy losses, we want to basically get as many pluses as we can, as many victories. It's a little funny how they say it, even 1 star is technically a defeat. In war, we're not going to look at it like that. But right now, we're trying to make sure that we can get as many victories as possible because that helps stop losing trophies because we know you have less of a shield when you're higher. And thanks so much for everyone who subscribed to the channel, and smash that like button if you wouldn't mind. That definitely helps out. Looking forward to seeing you try in one of these bases, and feel free to ask any questions about any of these in the Discord or down in the comments below. Okay, till next video. Cheers.